To be honest guys, I've struggled for weeks with the idea of publishing this footage. Social media is a ruthless beast and no doubt I'm going to cop some flack over this. Let's talk about me, a 5-year, 300-hour-ish pilot who up till now is incident free. How did I make a spur of the moment decision that could have put me in a spinal unit? Let's find out. Hey legends, welcome back. It's One Can Stuntman here. Happy New Year to you all, firstly. We're down here in my backyard, the Mundaring Weir, which is the main water catchment for the Perth, West Australian region, our drinking water catchment. You're never going to see this place overflow. It's been pretty dry for the last few months. I haven't made a video in the last few months. For that I apologise. I have been flying. I've been trying to fly at least every week, if not every couple of weeks. My video editing skills far outweigh my video capturing skills at the moment. I've had all sorts of in-flight issues with not getting footage recorded, with corrupted files, or they're just flights not worth recording. So yeah, apologies for that. This video is going to be, there's a lot of truth in this video for you guys that have watched my channel previously. I promise in my intros honesty. I'm going to give you some honesty. I'm going to teach you how not to kill yourself today, like I nearly did a couple of flights back. I'm also going to show you a really good 50k XC flight I had in this video here. I'll give you some opinions and food for thought, if you like, on perhaps why I didn't fly my best one day and then uncharacteristically made some really poor choices in the air. We'll dive into that. In the meantime, though, it's a beautiful day here. It's around the 16th of January. Yeah, strap in. Let's have a look. Like any day flying, I generally start a flight plan the day before. I check on the weather. I decide what I'm going to do on the day based on the weather. The weather actually looked okay for a cross country, but I needed to do some filming. The reason I needed to do some filming, I wanted to collect footage on the new Air Design slip harness that I'd been sent. I really wanted to test that. I also wanted to test out some new camera positions on my 360 camera, and I also wanted to test a new remote mic that I'd received as well. So my flight plan was all about hanging around the hill, not going away, just keeping it simple in case I need to readjust anything. The weather was perfect for that. It was a southeasterly, it was blowing right up the face of the hill. It was moderate and forecast to strengthen. Because of the strength of the wind, I had two options. I could take my Sigma 11 or I could take my mini wing, my Suzy 316. I thought that there was enough wind to support the mini wing, so that's actually what I chose. I've got a Air Design Suzy 316 square metre wing, which I've flown lots and lots before at Bakewell and on the coast. And if the wind wasn't strong enough to start with when I arrived, I knew it was going to strengthen, so that's where I went with that. In an effort to keep this video as short as possible, this is what you're watching now is the second flight of the day. I walked up the hill because it was strong. There wasn't a lot of people there. I ended up walking up the hill, getting a firm plan of what I wanted to do. The weather was exactly as I thought it would be. It was a little light. I took my time setting up. My head was in a good space. I've been doing a lot of flying in the last 3 months. So yeah, I took my time to set up. The new harness is fantastic, especially paired with the Suzy 3. The Suzy, I've owned an 18 square metre Suzy before and that was fun, but I mean this 16 square metre wing is brilliant. It's agile, it's exciting, it's fun to fly. It's got great handling in turbulence or thermal activity. It's got resistance to upsets and turbulence as well. It's got really good qualities about it. The other thing too, which is a factor in what happens later, is it easily builds up energy in manoeuvres and turns and all that sort of thing, which is generally a good thing. However, like all smaller wings, they will lose more height than a bigger wing in the turns, and that becomes a factor later, something that I didn't account for. So the first flight, the conditions were a lot lighter than they are in this flight that you're watching. I spent nearly 40 minutes in the air reviewing the harness, scratching. I really had to work to stay up. What you can see now though is a moderate to strong conditions, which is perfect, absolutely perfect for flying this wing. I basically collected the info and the footage and the commentary and all that sort of thing for the video that I wanted to release. So now I'm just having a bit of fun. What I'm actually looking for now is just basically use the last 10 minutes of flight. My plan was then to do a couple of top landings, practice a couple of top landings, take off, land, and then I was going to land again and swap harnesses. I was going to jump into my Progress 3. It has a reserve, and I was going back up to practice some spirals and wing overs and all that sort of thing. So that's what I had going through my head, as well as obviously thinking about footage and all that sort of thing. So there was a lot going on in my head while I was flying reasonably close and low to the hill, where perhaps I probably should have been concentrating on my flying a little bit more. I was a little bit clouded, a little bit preoccupied, and I think that's a major contributor as to what happened next. Righto, the moment you've all been waiting for. I've got to say, this is the shittiest decision I've ever made in the air. It is highly embarrassing, and I genuinely was not going to publish this. What I want you guys to take away from this is a learning experience. I want to share this so I can show you guys from my mistake how easy it is to get yourself in a situation that very quickly gets out of control. Righto, first, let's see what was going on with the air on the hill. So let's do some real simple theory. We all learnt this in ground school, and we should fly all the time, knowing this stuff, which sadly I do. I wasn't thinking about this at the time. We've got the flying site here with these are trees. Okay, I draw like a 3-year-old, please bear with me. The prevailing wind is coming up the slope. Here's the launch area here. So we've got a large air mass travelling relatively slowly, hitting the front of the hill. It's getting compressed and is giving you that vertical component, which creates a lift band that we all fly in. It's out the front of the hill, extending all the way up here. It's a nice, safe area. There's vertical speed, there's lift. There is also a large air mass being squeezed into a smaller air mass. What this does is it needs a relief. Once it comes over the top of launch, the compressed air accelerates. It accelerates hard because we've got a large air mass compressed into a very small air mass, and it wants to return to its normal size again. Therefore, the air accelerates. Unfortunately, we lose lift. That vertical component is now disappearing rapidly. Obviously, it goes into rotor behind the slope, depending on the shape of the slope. There's trees here. We're not going to talk about the rotor. I never flew in the rotor. My point is, this air is accelerating. Therefore, when I turn into the hill and fly downwind effectively, my ground speed is a lot higher than what I thought it was going to be. Okay, again, please put up with my amazing drawing here. This is looking top down onto the landing zone. So this is the front of the hill here. The wind is going this way, blowing up the slope. Now what you find here out in the lift band is well spaced. We've got a large volume of air that's been compressed against the side of the hill. We're in our lift band. We're out the front of the hill here. There's a good lift available. And there's a minor acceleration in wind speed because this is where the air is starting to get compressed. What we find towards the top of the slope where the LZ is, the air is now quite compressed and it's suddenly allowed to escape over the top of the hill. So the compression zone, we have significant accelerating air and a significant reduction in lift. So when we're heading back, when we're turning towards the hill, which we should never do, but I'm giving you an example of what happened in this video, we are suddenly, our speed over ground increases significantly and the lift component drops significantly. What's made worse at where I'm flying, we have a very tight LZ. It's very small, it's surrounded by green squiggly lines. No, I'm joking. These are trees. There are trees to the side, there are trees to the rear, there are trees to this side. It is a very unforgiving LZ. It's quite steep the first third here, and then it does flatten out with trees and a windsock in this corner where I ultimately landed. So yeah, that's it for the theory. Let's go back to the flight. Okay, let's break it down. I remember making a decision here. Remember I said I was going to practice some top landings. So what I've decided is to lose some height. I'm going to spiral down below the face of the hill. I'm going to fly along to the north, and then I'm going to return to the south to the takeoff, or my LZ, pop above the hill and conduct my first top landing. So here I tip it in, planning on a couple of turns to get below ridge height. Big mistake here, I haven't looked at the launch area in at least 10 seconds. I don't know where I am. If you look at this picture, I'm a lot closer to the top of the hill than I think I am. I'm close to the hill, and you could see in that last turn I've dropped height, which is just the nature of the beast with the wing. I'm very much in the compression zone. The speed over the ground over towards the back of the hill has increased and the lift has decreased. My turn right now is steepening dramatically, so I'm committed. This is about the time if I was going to bail out, if I realised my where I was, my situational awareness was up there. This is the opportunity now to bail out of this turn and still have height and be far enough away from the hill to be able to escape to the north. I realise here I'm in a shitload of trouble. I'm committed to the turn. I'm nearly 90 degrees. I've gone past the bailout scenario and I need to make the best of the shit that I've dealt myself. So right now, it's feeling pretty uncomfortable in that little slip harness, I can tell you that. So I've realised I'm in damage control. I can't fly over the back of launch. There are trees down the back. All I can do is continue the turn and hope like hell I don't hit any trees. I can't increase the rate of turn. I'm already horizontal, which means I'll lose even more height in the very little time that I have. I'm always adjusting. The only option I have is to keep the turn as shallow as possible without hitting the trees. My heart goes in my mouth every time I watch that video. Thank you for being there so I can share that. At the end of the day, like, it's embarrassing. Everyone's got a sense of pride. I spoke to 2 or 3 people that I trust in my flying community. 2 of them very, very good cross-country pilots. They did encourage me to publish this for a learning experience, and it is totally in line with the whole reason I started this channel. I'll take a dent in my pride. I'll stand naked in front of the internet, and yes, I fucked up. An intermediate, a relatively experienced intermediate pilot, made some pretty stupid decisions. I want to touch on, I know 2 of my flying friends have had serious injuries from incidents just like this one. I walked away with a scratch on my knee. How? I don't know. It was luck. That's all it was. I'm gonna tell you right now. There was serious repercussions for doing silly shit close to terra firma. Don't be me. Don't do that. Be mindful. Every time you're flying close, your proximity flying, you're close to the hill, whatever, always be prepared. Make good decisions and be situationally aware. I want to give a shout out actually to Tommy DeGun. Sticking your channel up here, mate. Big shout out to you. If you want to watch some really informative weather and planning type videos, you want to share some cross countries, one of my very favourite flying people, Tommy DeGun, go and see his channel. In the meantime, share this, please subscribe. I hope I've earned a subscription. I've bared it all. Share it, like it, and I encourage comments. I know I'm going to get hammered, but I really would like to know what you think. If you're brave enough to perhaps share your experiences, whatever, please do. I encourage you to be involved in this and take away from this. And yeah, all's well that ends well, I guess. Cheers.